Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Man, I've wanted to do this episode for such a long time. Why? We're talking about Manowar. Manowar, man, what a band. Like, seriously, I'll tell you how I discovered Manowar. My brother brought home a copy of the album Fighting the World, and immediately he puts it on. And I remember saying to him something like, this sounds like AC/DC. Like the song Blow Your Speakers, like and the way that he was singing, like, I was like, yeah, this sounds like AC/DC. And then my brother said, no, it's Manowar. I was like, okay, awesome. And so from that moment forward, we became Manowar fans, I guess you could say. I loved Manowar. I think the songs are great. I taped Fighting the World off my brother that day, and I think I listened to that tape till it wore out, like just constantly. And I love that album, really do. So anyway, over the years, I started to buy Manowar records. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Manowar records, but I want to tell you about the time that I've seen Manowar. So I've seen Manowar. I've seen them twice, but technically one of them is three times because they did two shows. So I guess you could say it's three times. But anyway, the first time I saw them was in 2002. I went to Italy and saw the Gods of Metal Festival, headlined by Slayer one day and Manowar the next. Now, that show was wild. That show blew my mind. I love Manowar and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew it was going to be loud because they're known as being loud. And I just remember like how good they sounded. And I'm not talking about just the playing. I'm talking about the mixing. The mix there that they had on that day at that festival was so perfect. Like, it was loud, it was heavy, but it was crystal clear. Like, you could hear every note. And I know that's one thing that Manowar have always prided themselves on, as being a really well mixed band. Like, that's something that I know it's so integral to why Manowar sound the way they do. So that night, I remember they played Nessun Dorma for the very first time. I think it was the very first time. And, you're playing that in Italy, in Milan. And that video is on YouTube, and you should watch it because it's pretty amazing performance. And oh my God, man, like, that performance was so good. I remember turning around and seeing people in the audience crying over them, playing Nessun Dorma live. Now, I get the feeling that Nessun Dorma obviously means a lot to a lot of people in Italy. I was blown away by the sheer intensity of it. Like, Eric Adams' voice was amazing. Like, it really was amazing. It just blew my mind hearing how good a singer that guy is. And I remember another time they did Hail and Kill, right? And, there's that slow bit at the start, and then he says, hold your hammers high. And he held that note. It felt like it went like for a minute. Like, he held that note for a minute. Obviously it wasn't, be in the Guinness Book of Records, I guess, if he could, but it felt like it went for a minute, but it was. But I just remember him sitting there holding that note, and halfway through it, him holding that note, but everyone just started cheering, like standing ovation for this guy. Like, his voice is just so powerful and so good. That show was incredible. That show, Gods of Metal. I remember Doro played that as well. I met Doro that day. What a lovely woman. And who else played? Sodom played. Creator played. I'm pretty sure Creator played. I know Sodom definitely played, and I was kind of bummed because I didn't play Oscar Bombed. I really wanted to hear that song because I love that song. But they still sounded amazing no matter what. But yeah, that was an interesting show. The other time I saw them play was in 2008. Me and my buddies, we went to Europe and saw them do the Magic Circle Festival. And they played like the first 6 albums in their entirety. Like, no lie. So they did 3 albums a night, which is really weird because I technically couldn't do them in the order because they always open up with the song Manowar, and they played that first both nights. So they did all 6 albums from start to finish. So, what have you got? Hail to England, Sign of the Hammer, Into Glory Ride, Kings of Metal, Battle Hymns, and Fighting the World. But anyway, they did those albums in their entirety. Now that was mind-blowing. But it wasn't only that, they also did some extra songs. It's like you couldn't get Manowar off stage, which is pretty funny in itself. But I guess each show went for over 3 hours. Like, so, you know, you saw a total of like 7 or 8 hours of Manowar over the over the weekend. But that festival was pretty damn funny. It was a great festival, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I saw Wasp. I saw Doro. I saw Goddard with Steve, which is, you know, that was mind blowing. May he rest in peace. But goddamn, they were good, man. Alice Cooper played. Ted Nugent played. Holy Hell played. And what was the other bands? Def Leppard and Whitesnake were supposed to play, but cancelled for whatever reason. And they didn't tell anybody that they cancelled until like the day or the day before or something like that. I don't remember the politics of that. What a weird bill though, hey? Def Leppard and Manowar. Anyway, so me and my buddies, we thought we'd go to Europe for a month and go see Barkin, which was amazing. And we started off our trip by going to Magic Circle Festival. Magic Circle Festival was an absolute trip. Just getting there was incredible. We met all these metalheads along the way and we all just became instant friends. It was really, really cool. And I remember one of the guys that we were hanging out with, we met him on the train and stuff like that. He ended up playing in Cobra and the Lotus. Do you know that band? He was a guitar player in that. Amazing guitar player and really lovely guy. I can't remember what his name is, but he was from Canada. Anyway, cool. So let's go through the albums. Now, these are probably not in order. Like, I'm just going to show you them as I pick them up off the pile. These are all the ones that I have. I know there's other vinyl releases and stuff like that, but I just don't see them around here that often. But anyway, here we go with Battle Hymns, which is signed by Ross the Boss, because he came out and did a solo show, which was amazing. Like, they did Manowar songs, and it was so good. And I got to interview him before the show, and so while I was there, I asked him if he could sign some records, and he did. So there we go. That's Battle Hymns. There you go. Here we have Into Glory Ride, one of those records that every time there's like bad cover artwork for bands or whatever, this one always gets posted by somebody. Into Glory Ride, great record, signed by Ross again. This one has got Secret of Steel, Warlord, Gloves of Metal, Gates of Valhalla. There's the track listing there. But that record cover, man. I don't care what anybody said. That record cover rules. That's metal. Hail to England. Another great record. Another great record. There you go. There's the back cover. Cool artwork on the cover. Again, I didn't get this one signed. I don't know why I didn't. But this one's got lyrics and stuff. So there you go. You can read the same 5 words over and over again in all the songs. So awesome band. Fighting the World, probably my favourite Manowar album. It's a toss-up between this one and Kings of Metal, I'd say, but I love this record, probably because it was the first one I heard, again, signed by Ross the Boss. But yeah, this record rules. And Blow Your Speakers, Carry On, Violence and Bloodshed. Oh man, when I saw them in Italy, they did Black Wind, Fire and Steel there, and I just remember how fast it was. You know, just so fast. It was wild, man. But yeah, Defender. They're such a great band. I mean, I know the shtick is kind of, you know, funny to a lot of people, but I don't care. There's the lyrics so you can sing along. You know, as long as you know the words power, might, sword, glory, die, you pretty much know every Manowar song. Sign of the Hammer. This artwork, you know, kind of fails in comparison to all their other records, but such a good record, man. All Men Play on 10. Inside, and you've got the lyrics so you can sing along. Such an awesome album, man. Okay, here it is, Kings of Metal. Kings of Metal is such a great song. Manowar, Manowar, living on the road. It's such a good album, man. Now, one thing I didn't like about this album, I bought this used for $10, and so it's got this tape around the edge here to hold it together, and so they didn't bother putting on the bottom there, but it's falling out. But there you go, Atlantic Records. When they released this on CD, they released it with a bonus track called Pleasure Slave, which there's a reason why it's left off. It's not that good a track when you compare it to everything else that's on this record. But Blood of the Kings, oh my god, Hail and Kill, Heart of Steel, Kings of Metal, Wheels of Fire, like this album is just a killer, man. Like, it's so fast and it's so good. You know, wheels of fire burning the night. Crown and the Ring. When they did those 6 albums in its entirety, Crown and the Ring was one that they played, and they actually got the same choir, I believe, that recorded on this to come up on stage and sing it. It was awesome, man. Like, what an experience, though. How is that, you know, like, how can you get any more metal than that? Like, they get the same people, you know, that recorded on the record to come and sit. They're obviously a lot older now, but they were there and they were singing, and it was just awesome, man. Like, Crown of the Ring is such a good song, and I think it's the song they finish with, right? It's the music that plays when the band is finished if they're not singing it, because I believe maybe at that concert was the first time it's been performed live. Maybe was at that show. But yeah, it was something else. It was awesome. Usually they just have the song playing as you're leaving the stadium, I believe, or the auditorium or the pub or wherever they play. The Triumph of Steel, Master of the Wind is the big song in here for me. Now this is the reissue or something like that, because I got it a lot later, but I found it in a bargain bin, but it was brand new. And yeah, it's got this big long song on there. If you buy it on CD, it probably makes more sense, because then you don't have to change the sides as you listen to the concept album from start to finish. But yeah, Master of the Wind, what a beautiful song that is. Then I have this record, which I got from Heartland Records, Warriors of the World, and they played that song at the Magic Circle Festival. And I remember watching it and realizing that for like 7 minutes I was just watching the same drum beat, dum goo dum goo dum goo, and yeah, at the end of it you're just like, wow. But anyway, this has Nessun Dorma on it, Call to Arms. It's a great record. Not as good as the first 6, but I still love this record, so don't get me wrong. It's still a great record. I just, it's never going to beat something like Kings of Metal, is it? But this album still rules. And they did a single off it, which is kind of weird, but they did an American trilogy, The Fight for Freedom. And it has the Nessun Dorma orchestral version. It's on like a purple burgundy color vinyl. An American trilogy, not their song, obviously. It's a cover. Didn't Elvis Presley do a version of it? Well, wasn't he the first person to do it, even though he never wrote it, because he never wrote a single song? Doesn't matter, whatever. Anyway, Manowar will do it, and they do it pretty cool. Warriors of the World United, the single, with Carry On, recorded live at the Gods of Metal Festival, Italy, June 6, 1999, not the one that I went to. And March for Revenge by the Soldiers of Death, recorded live at Gods of Metal Festival, Italy, June 6, 1999. Still a great EP, red vinyl. Both of these singles were given to me by my friend Khalil, and as a birthday present. And I think he got them both from Heartland, and they were like maybe $5 or $10 each. This album was the reason I started buying Manowar records. I do like it, the songs that are on here that are metal and stuff, but there's just so much orchestral keyboard stuff on here. I lost interest in this record. I have it on CD as well. It came with a DVD, but I don't know what happened. It seemed like it was really disconnected. Not a lot of actual just straight up kick-ass metal songs that we had grown to love Manowar for. A lot of just over-the-top stuff that just didn't really resonate with me at all. Obviously, Die for Metal, the bonus track, is awesome. That song rules. And there are really good tunes on here, like King of Kings, whatever. But overall, as an album, it's a bit disappointing. Still like it, don't love it. But, yeah. So anyway, Manowar, that's the records that I have. I know that there's tons of other vinyl releases by Manowar, but finding them here in Australia is just not that easy. But I love Manowar, huge Manowar fan. They've never been to Australia. I doubt they'll ever get here. It's a shame we'll never see Manowar on Australian shores. So if you want to see Manowar and you're an Aussie, you kind of have to go to them, which is what I did. I went to that Magic Circle Festival because there was just no way I was going to pass that up. That 6 albums in its entirety in Germany. How would you pass that up? It was awesome. And I had a great time there. I had the best time at that festival. That festival was awesome. I did film some of that stuff that day, but it's pretty crappy quality because I did it on a really terrible digital camera. But I do have a lot of photos from that time, and hopefully they're on the screen now while we're talking about this. But the people I met along the way, and hung out with while I was there, that's what made going there, and being, I guess, quote unquote, a Manor warrior was so special. The fans and friends that you met along the way. Oh my God, it was just crazy. I remember on the first night, Eric Adams shot like an arrow at like the Viking ship that they used on one of their tours or one of their shows or something, and he set it on fire. And I remember we all went and watched that. It was pretty funny. But yeah, and what is it? They said, oh, you know, this guy's going to break the chains to welcome us in to the Magic Circle Festival. And I remember watching him at this chain, but the chains were like sealed together with like this piece of plastic so that when he broke them apart, it was easy to snap. It wasn't breaking chains. Come on, don't be silly. But it was funny regardless. I mean, you know, you're living in the moment of Manowar. It's Manowar's world, and we were a part of it, I guess you could say, for that weekend. I did get to meet Joey DeMaio very fleetingly. He signed something for me. It's not here. I wish I had an album to get signed, but, you know, I'm not going to carry records around for a month. They did a meet and greet. Like 2 days in a row, they did these meet and greets. And, man, it was just like a nightmare. Like, it was a nightmare. The lineup was so long, and still not everybody got to meet them. I lined up for hours that day and didn't get to meet them because I wanted to get something signed by all 4 members together, but that didn't happen. Alas, it is what it is. But still, Manowar, what a band. If you ever get the chance to see Manowar live, I can't stress it enough. Do yourself a favour, man. They are such a good live band. Regardless what you think of the records, just see them live. It will blow your mind. They are that good. You know, I think there's only 2 original members now. It's only Eric and Joey in the band. I don't know who the guitarist is these days. Why they didn't ask Ross the Boss back, I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense to me. Scott Columbus unfortunately passed away. Rhino is still available. Is Rhino playing drums for him? He should. He was in the band, but he set his drum kit on fire. Remember he did that? He set his drum kit on fire to remove himself of the past or something. I did meet Rhino, actually, and I did ask him, like, after he set his drum kit on fire, if he looked at it and just said, what the fuck did I do that for? And he laughed when I said that. And he goes, you know, it's just a lot of fun. Scott Columbus handed him the drums of doom or something like that, so they set the drum kit on fire. There's a video called Secrets of Steel. It's a VHS tape, but you could buy the DVD and it came as a bonus on that, and I highly recommend if you can get those DVDs, get them. Manowar DVDs are hilarious. They are so funny. Like, everything is like a documentary and everything is taken so seriously, you know, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's awesome, man. Just watch them. Watch Manowar DVDs. They are hilarious and they're incredible. And yeah, I ended up in one of them. I ended up in the DVD of the Magic Circle Festival that I went to. As the credits are rolling, I say something like
24 hours on a plane for 5 days of hell.
They made it into the DVD. I thought that was hilarious. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show, where we talked about Manowar, the loudest band in the world. And yeah, take care of yourselves, look after each other, and go buy some records. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.